Why Shawshank?
It's probably, if I had to, people ask me what my favorite movie is, I say Shawshank. In fact, I was surprised that no one had ever chose this as a movie on the podcast because, well, I do a podcast with Aaron Weber, and it's his favorite movie too, and we talk about it a lot on the Nate Land podcast. Nate's never seen it. Nate Bargatze has never seen it, so it's a running joke we have that he's never seen The Shawshank Redemption. It makes people so mad when he says it.
I cannot understand people's, that is to say, Aaron's obsession with The Shawshank Redemption. It's a decent movie, and I'm not going to hate on people who love it. I'm just saying Nate doesn't need to feel like he's missing out on anything. Wow.
I'm going to disagree.
Yeah. Obsession might be a strong word. I do like the movie. I don't have a statue of Stephen King in my house.
You have a poster of...
I don't write letters to Frank Darabont thanking him for writing the movie. I don't do anything like that.
You have a poster of Raquel Welch?
I do have a Shawshank poster at my house, but I don't have a statue or a shrine.
The fact that you know the guy that wrote it.
We talk about it all the time on our podcast because Aaron and I are huge fans. We label who's who and, you know, like who among us would be which one of these characters.
Who do they label you as?
Well, I did it myself. I'm Brooks. I wouldn't make it in the outside world.
You're just an institutionalized man.
Yeah. Aaron's Andy Dufresne. Dusty is Red.
I miss my friend Aaron Weber.
And then Nate. See, Nate could be one of two. He could be the warden. Or he could be Tommy, who doesn't know how to read.
Both of those are really good. A mix of those is funny to think about.
Yeah. So that's kind of... So anyway, I love Shawshank. You know, I was thinking I've probably seen it 100 times, but maybe only once in its actual release and 99 times on TBS where it's been edited and, you know... So I feel like I know... the lines from the movie, but quite frankly, maybe I don't know them as well as I think I do.
Well, even watching this, like you said, I've caught it on TBS so much.
Yeah.
Where when I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I've seen this beginning to end. Like may have been the first time. But speaking of Nate Land, I was curious if you've seen this before. We got a few gifts for you.
Wow. No, Nate Land bingo. Look at that. It's like I could hang it on my fridge or whatever. Wow, look at that. Did you guys make this?
No, I just found it online, but I just thought it was perfect. Even Shawshank is one of the squares on there.
It sure is. Brian's age also on here. Wow, that is super cool. Thank you.
It does crack me up in the beginning scene here that Andy Dufresne, his suit is more disheveled than it is like at the end of the movie, right after he's gone through the river. He comes in and he just looks so dapper.
He walks in the bank so dapper, but yeah, he's disheveled there.
I don't blame the jury for thinking he's guilty. I feel like his whole demeanor in the beginning, I mean, he's clearly traumatized, but it's also like, I don't know, he doesn't do a good job at making it seem like he's a victim. Like,
no. In fact, again, I don't want to talk about our podcast the whole time, but we were just talking about this movie. And Dusty said something about... Dusty couldn't remember it and thought that he was actually guilty. And I'm like, Dusty, that would be a totally different movie if a convicted murderer had escaped from prison. It would not be a feel-good film.
Yeah.
There should be a part 2 where they hunt him down and find him. So you guys are obviously huge movie fans to do a podcast about movies. I used to work at a video store.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, I worked at a store called Mega Video. And so, you know, we could take home all the movies we wanted to watch for free. And so I remember watching Shawshank when it came out, like in 93 or 94, I think. I think this is the 30th anniversary.
When you were working there, would you like recommend people? Would you try to be like, okay, this person, they'd like this? Or
Yeah, that's one reason why they encourage us to take home movies for free, so we could give people recommendations. And there's a Seinfeld episode where...
Gene's Picks,
yeah. And it was kind of like that a little bit. We didn't have our name up there, but it was kind of like that. So people would all the time ask for recommendations. And that was way before Rotten Tomatoes. But even then, I was watching like Siskel and Ebert and stuff like that. And, you know, I thought I was a movie critic and could give people advice. It's such a great movie that just remember when I saw it for the first time, it pulls you in so much that's one reason why the big reveal of him escaping, I think, kind of surprised me, because I'm already so engrossed in the other storylines, and of course you think right before that, is he about to kill himself? And
oh yeah, we just saw, he's like, yeah, we just gave him some rope today.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, you know, he's hung himself.
Andy come down to the loading dock today. He asked me for a length of rope.
Rope?
6 feet long.
And you gave it to him?
Sure I did. Why wouldn't I?
Jesus, Haywood.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just remember enjoying the movie so much, even obviously before, you know, he escapes and lets the warden have it. Titanic was that way for me. Titanic, obviously I know there's going to be an iceberg that's going to sink the ship, but I got so into the story that when it happened, I was like, oh yeah, this may not turn out well.
What's your take on Titanic? Was there enough room on the door for Jack?
It seemed like there was, right?
I definitely think
I think so. They could at least alternate it and try to keep them both alive.
While we're talking VHSs and movie store and Seinfeld.
Rochelle. Do you guys know I'm a big Seinfeld fan?
Oh yeah, it's on one of the squares on there too.
Oh wow! You know, there's a Seinfeld characters in Shawshank.
Who? Which one?
There's 3 that I know of. One of them. Are you guys Seinfeld fans?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To get these, you're going to need know both of these. So on Seinfeld, Brody is the movie bootlegger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the inmates.
They got him finally.
Yep, one of the jailers here. That when Andy plays the music over the loudspeaker, he locks one of the jailers, in the bathroom. That guy was on Seinfeld. He's the one that raced Jerry.
Oh yeah,
when they had the race,
the big race,
the backfire. Yeah,
yep, the big race. And there was a third one. Golly, what was it?
Out of the core 4, who do you think would do the best at Shawshank, and who do you think would do the worst?
Well, Jerry and George, they all went to prison at the end of.
Oh yeah, they got experience.
So they got experience, and I feel like Kramer would do the best.
Yeah, I think he just fit right in.
Yeah,
he'd be in some Nazi group or something.
He would probably like it. Like he would just fit right in there.
A floater.
George would probably do the worst.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd be crying the first night.
Yeah. George would be crying the first night. Jerry, I guess, would be the Andy.
They'd be placing bets on George to cry.
They would.
George's getting upset.
Yeah, they would. They would.
George is getting upset.
This movie was set in Maine. All of Stephen King's stuff is set in Maine usually, but they shot it in Mansfield, Ohio. And there's you can go take a tour of this prison.
Oh, really?
Where they shot it. And Aaron's done it.
Have you ever toured Alcatraz?
No. I went to San Francisco one time and I saw it off the pier, but I've never been. You have?
Yeah, that's where I got this shirt. I was excited to wear it because it's one of those things that you buy and you're immediately like, when am I ever going to be able to wear this?
But it needs like some numbers or something, because it kind of just looks like a
blue shirt. Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of wrinkled.
I didn't press it.
Old Denim Dan over here.
Yeah, but that's cool. Man, you guys keep coming with. You gave me Rochelle. You gave me a bingo card here. Let's see what we got here. You ain't happy.
Yeah, no, you talk about your CPAP a lot.
Oh, yeah. I just got a new one. Oh, sorry. I just got a new one. I'm very excited about it.
Well, there couldn't have been better timing than when the power went out when you were at Stand Up Live in Huntsville.
Yes.
And you had just been talking about that was such a funny thing to find.
Yeah, that is such a true story. Man, that video did not capture the moment like it was, because that was a crazy night, and I don't think that video fully captured it. I mean, I did my last 30 minutes of my set in the dark.
No way.
With no mic. And it went much better after, because the crowd all of a sudden got really invested. They knew they were there for something special. They had to listen, so they got quiet. But yeah, I just mentioned my CPAP and how the lights dim when my wife and I go to bed. And then that happened. But guess who recently got diagnosed with sleep apnea? My wife. We now both wear CPAPs to bed. It gets crazy. When we go to bed at night, the lights in our neighborhood dim. It's like a brownout. Whoa! Yeah. That's perfect. That's a much better joke than anything I've told.
I didn't realize you did 30 minutes in the dark. That's
yeah. I was
no microphone's hard enough.
I know. Now it helps that I don't sell out shows, so there wasn't that many people there.
So did they have any light in there at all?
They did. They had auxiliary lights,
but just like the exit signs and stuff.
It was a little bit more than that. I could actually see the audience better now because the spotlights are no longer in my face, and then auxiliary lights come on. So that's another reason why I think the crowd was more attentive, because they know now I can see them. So there was less fidgeting, talking, or whatever. It's like I got my eye on you now, buddy. So it was an interesting night. I wouldn't want to do it again, but there was probably 100 people there. So, talking without a mic was doable. I just had to talk a little bit louder, but if it was like, 300 people or something, that'd probably be too hard.
The fact that you did it in the dark and with no mic is beyond impressive.
I always tell you guys, I met a movie star last night.
No.
Oh, we saw
the picture.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Huge fan of yours.
Yeah, huge fan of mine. And he asked to have a picture with me. No, not quite like the way I posted it, but I do audience warm-up sometimes for the Huckabee show. Huckabee's recorded here in Nashville. Last night, Cuba Gooding Jr. was a guest on the show. Usually if they have a big celeb, they kind of hang out in their own dressing room or do whatever. So I didn't even really expect to meet him, but he was hanging out there in the green room and just chilling. And so I said, hey, would you mind either maybe afterwards or whatever if we got a photo? And he's like, yeah, let's just do it now. And there was another guy sitting there with him at the table. It was the three of us sitting there. The other guy said, you may take the picture. And Cuba said, no, we'll just do a selfie. That'll be fun. And so I do it, and I'm all excited. And then they go do their segment. The other guy, who I totally ignored, was Kevin Sorbo, who's had a pretty great movie career himself. So I kind of felt a little bad that they're both sitting there. I totally ignore him. I asked Cuba Gooding Jr. for a photo, and Kevin Sorbo was nice enough to offer to take it. So anyway, that was pretty cool. This is the scene where they first meet. And he asked him, why do they call you Red? And he's like, I guess it's because I'm Irish.
Yeah.
The book, I learned, he was a white Irishman.
Oh.
That was his character. But then they cast Morgan Freeman, so they just put in that line like that.
What's even funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were in prison, what do you think you'd do to pass the time the most? Would you play baseball, or just work out, or just read a lot of books, like with Brooks?
I can't imagine me working out and getting all buff in there.
You got a lot of time.
And I come out.
You're just jacked.
Tattoos all over me. The new Brian. I definitely have a different set. Well, I'm going to put it back on you guys. Would you rather have a roommate or have a cell to yourself?
Cell to myself.
What if you're like in there like most of the day?
I'd want to sell to myself unless it's like, if I knew the person, it'd be different, I guess. But if it's just a random person, that too much.
Yeah, then he's messing with my rocks. Yeah. Maybe moves my chisel or something.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'd want a cell to myself. We had that debate, and Aaron said he'd want a roommate. He said we're not meant to, we would go crazy. Not solitary confinement, but he's like, if you were in there most of the time by yourself, you'd go stir crazy and you'd want a roommate. But I don't know. You get somebody you don't like, or that's all those things you said, that's tough.
Yeah, and you can talk to the people next door, through the bars.
Yeah. I think I'd much rather have just for the bathroom purposes.
Oh, 100%. I would be the most annoying roommate. Well, could you imagine having to hook up your CPAP in there? You would undoubtedly make somebody mad.
I would not make it on the inside. Just me hooking up my CPAP.
Oh. Hey, does anybody have an outlet I can use?
They have to run an extension cord down to the mess hall. the jail comes to me because their electric bill's too high. They're like, we got to do something.
So what poster would you have up if you had your own room and you had one poster?
That's a good question. Now, I'm a little too old. I mean, I'm a little too young even for the famous Farrah Fawcett poster.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, as a kid, I had sports posters on my wall. I never had models or anything like that. Huh. As a grown man,
that'd be hilarious. It'd be in prison and have Joe Montana or someone on the wall.
Yeah, Kitty Stabler.
Or even worse, like somebody who's playing now, like Shohei Ohtani or something. And I'm like, dude, you're 52. That guy could be your son.
He gives me hope.
Yeah. Yeah. As scary as these guys, like the sisters are, generally speaking, real prison is much scarier. Yeah. This is just a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
I did a show at a prison once, and they do not look like this.
How'd that show go? That sounds like Johnny Cash or something.
I know. It did not go well. So there was a prison here. It's in Tennessee. It's a maximum security prison, like where they send the worst of the worst.
We know who you'll love. Brian Bay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a perfect fit for prison. There's me right there.
Yeah.
That's me after my set.
Yeah. That's him dragging you off stage.
I wish I could tell you Brian fought the good fight.
I've actually had worse shows. Do a Comedy Zone gig and you'll want to go to prison. But anyway, Nate Bargatze's dad is a magician.
Yeah.
And he has performed at some prisons as part of this men's ministry thing that he does. So he and another magician at Christmas, I think they may do this every year, they go and perform at this prison as part of some program. Again, there's me just trying to survive my set.
Shaking and jiving.
Yeah. So Nate's dad, are you familiar with Nate's dad?
I just saw him perform in Birmingham. He was one of Nate's openers.
Yeah, and he's incredible. He's so good.
Like everyone was crying by the end of his set.
He's such a talented and funny magician, and he apparently destroyed. So they did 2 days in a row of this. The next day, I'm the guy going. But the inmates don't know this. They just think Nate's dad's coming back. So now word's gotten out in the prison. This guy's incredible. So they have an overflow of inmates coming in for this show to the point where it becomes a problem because they're like...
There's people signing up to go to the show.
There's people signing up to go
tickets.
To see Stephen Bargatze when really they're getting Brian Bates. Oh, there's the third guy. That guy is Elaine's coworker who wore all the fatigues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it became this big ordeal where they had to like get people to calm down because there was this overflow crowd. I thought in prisons, I've only seen movies. I thought everyone had like high-powered rifles and there's all these guards and stuff. They don't. At this prison, no one had weapons because their fear is that the inmates will overrun them and then they'll have
the weapons.
They'll have the weapons. So I was very, very nervous. And then finally, they got everyone settled down. I was hoping we wouldn't even have the show, to be honest with you. They got everyone settled down. We didn't have a stage. I don't think we even had mics. And
with the power on.
The power was on. But, man, it didn't go great.
Were people just like, where's the magic?
Yeah. They were like, where's the magic guy? And then I'm up there trying to tell jokes, but they don't really get it, And I just remember it was tough. It was tough. Because I'd heard all these stories.
Harder than being in jail is doing stand-up in jail.
I have it rough up here.
You guys have no idea how hard I'm having.
This is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Just him getting a beer for...
Yeah, everything. The whole scene is so captive. I mean, even this.
He's so weird, though. The way
I agree.
All this, it's like, dude, what are you trying to...
Do you trust your wife?
Right now? Yeah. You could have said this in a better way.
I agree. Whenever I watch it now, I'm like, why would you say it like that?
Yeah.
Do you want to get killed?
And this guy's like already killed one guy and that we know of.
Yeah.
At this point. So it's like you're going up to the most unhinged person, about to get thrown off the roof right as we talk. And you still won't even like clarify it.
He should say that right. Hey, you want to keep that $35,000? listen to me. That's how you should open the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, you should open with, don't even take a step. Mr. Warden, or not Warden, but Mr. Head Guard, whatever his name is. Could I just tell you something real quick? But instead, he does it the most creepy way possible. He sneaks over and then like, do you trust your wife?
Mr. Hadley, do you trust your wife?
Let me ask you guys this. I mean, the jailer has all the upside. He's about to throw the guy off the roof.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he just say, how about I don't kill you and you help me with this instead of, do you think they would really went and got beers and give it to him?
Not 3 each. You know, they got him a lot of beers.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe he's just pumped about that 35 grand.
I don't know why I'm now nitpicking, criticizing this movie. It's my favorite
there's
movie.
Definitely, like, it's hard to criticize. My criticism has always been the escape.
What about it?
Every aspect of it, almost. Like, he hits the pipe. You know, it had to be storming.
Yeah.
Did he know it was going to storm? Like, so that, you know, he could drown out?
I think so.
And then, well, do sewage pipes always lead to, like, you know...
No, they're not supposed to burst up, but... Oh, I know what you mean, though.
But even that, like...
It just goes to a river.
How did he know that you were going to, like, what if you go the wrong way?
Right.
And then you have to go back asswards. Like, oh, God, this was not the right way out of this tunnel.
Right.
Or, like, how do you know it opens up? What if it gets smaller? And then you just get stuck in this sewage pipe?
Yeah, it might have not worked, but I guess at this point in his life, it's like all this is worth the risk.
Yeah.
I think they were about to, like, move him out, change rooms, too. So I think it was kind of like a now or never type situation.
Can you imagine? Because it took him 19 years to dig that hole. If you're 18, they move you, you're like, crap. Should I tell the guy who's getting my room?
Yeah.
I've been working on this thing for 18 years, digging.
I'm going to have to get another Rita Hayworth poster.
That would be so disappointing.
See, my issues are not quite the same as yours.
Yeah.
The storm, I take that as that was a fortunate thing, maybe that worked out that way. Or maybe he did see it coming. The pipe, I could see, he's so smart about everything. I guess for 19 years you would figure out or see where that it goes out there, I guess. Maybe you could see that from I don't know. For me, the two things that, and they kind of acknowledge it in the movie, his shoes. Morgan Freeman has a line.
How often do you look down at a man's shoes?
Right. Which, okay, I guess that's true.
I mean, seriously, how often do you really look at a man's shoes?
And then dumping all the stuff out in the yard. It's hard to imagine that much over that amount of time that no one would have noticed it.
Well, I was thinking about this too. Like, how many hours a night do you think he was working digging that hole? Or, you know, like, was he... It had to take so long. Like, you'd think he would just be exhausted if he was working on it most of the night.
Because of what you're saying, I don't think it was a time in terms of, like, how long you did it, like, till I'm just tired. I think he did it till he got to a quantity standpoint of rocks that he could no longer carry them out. And that was his stopping point. Where it's like, all right, I got 2 handfuls of rocks. We'll wait, till tomorrow night. Because that gives him enough, he works till he gets 2 handfuls of rock a night, which would pace out at about 20 years. I've done a lot of whole wall digging.
Yeah, this is when you first clue, although...
It's easy to forget about it.
It is.
I did not know it was coming.
No.
Even with that, you get like okay, but it's not this is how this movie ends.
Yeah.
He carves an A and it shows the people's names above there. So you can just go, oh, he's just carving his name up there.
Yeah, and then the next thing you see is him coming to ask for this poster, but it doesn't give it away.
Whenever you're talking about dumping the rocks out, I did think it'd be hilarious when I first walked in here if I just...
That would have been awesome.
Well, I know you mentioned the prison room, but it got you this gift for another room that you did.
Bernie Mac. Oh, the black audience. Why I even reference Bernie Mac?
Yeah. You said you're the opposite of Bernie Mac.
Yeah, exactly. So for those that don't know, you can see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I did an all black room. It was actually at Zany's, but it was an urban show. And I was the only white guy on the show, and I really played to it. And Bernie Mac has a famous line from Def Comedy Jam where he says, I'm not scared of, I think he maybe uses a word that I don't normally say. And I said, I'm the opposite of Bernie Mac. And everyone got it.
Oh,
for the
yeah.
most part.
This is all walks of life. This brother right here, me and him been friends for over 15 years. We went on the road with a good friend, Angela Johnson. You definitely know him from right here in Nashville. He's gonna bring out here a whole other world. Put your hands together for my good friend Brian Bates. TC asked me to come celebrate his birthday. I thought, like usual, he'd be only the black one there. Is there another white person in the building? I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared. I am the opposite of Bernie Mac.
That is so funny. Man, you guys put a lot of thought into these gifts. These are great gifts. I feel like you guys know more about me than I know about myself.
Well, that video cracked us up. It was
so funny.
Do you think those rooms, because you're fish out of the water, do you think those are easier to do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if I play to them.
I was about to say, I think in Birmingham's much more like there's way more urban rooms to go to. And anytime I lean into I'm the cheesy white dude that like gets ripped off and doesn't know anything, they love it. They eat it up. And it just works better. You
got to embrace it and don't pander, but don't run from it either.
Yeah.
And, I've done shows in Birmingham, at the Stardome. And if the audience is half black and half white, it doesn't go as well because I feel like the white people don't know how they should act. And, but if it's an all black room, then I feel like it really does well. And that video, it's gotten over 3 million views on YouTube.
Yeah.
I just wish it was right before. I wish the video quality was better, but really what I wish, it was right before I knew caption everything. So there's no captioning on it. And I've since went on YouTube to the closed captioning and added captioning, but you got to click on CC to hear it because the audio is not good. So the video's got tons of views, but half of the comments are, I can't understand a word he's saying. So I'm like, if I'd have just captioned it better, I think it would have gotten a lot more views. Mm-hmm. Or just the video's not great quality, but I'm so thankful I have it.
Well, it's such a funny moment.
Such a great moment.
Yeah. And I even left in a little bit of the comic before me just to kind of capture what the vibe of the room was.
I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
But that's so funny. Thank you.
It's funny that they named themselves the Sisters.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, like, that's not exactly the toughest name to have in a prison. I would have picked a better name.
He's the one guy, though, that you like that he gets beat up by the system. It's bad guy versus bad guy right here, but you're truly rooting for the guard.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Boy, when they show Boggs, he does look so rough.
Yeah, he looks like he's like, you know what, maybe I went too far with Andy. Is that what this is like? Why'd he steal that rock? I can't.
It's a crab apple.
Okay, that's right.
That's old horse dookie.
That's right.
What he says. But yeah, they're trying to find rocks for Andy to carve.
Okay, that's
Andy
right.
got beat up so bad that he was, they were trying to make him feel better. He has several things like that make him happy throughout the movie. The library and I don't think he's ever more content though when he's playing his music.
I know that might be my favorite scene. Yeah, he plays that music over the loudspeaker, and then the warden shows up, tells him to turn it off, or you're in big trouble. And he reaches, and you think he's going to turn it off, and then he turns it up more. That's such a great scene.
What cracked me up? You said, I think it was with you and Dusty Slay were eating wings. And you were talking about how one of your favorite things to do when you're traveling on the road is to go to record stop or go to record stores.
Yeah.
But you don't even have a record player.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me. And I thought it was so funny. But we
man, never stops here.
So we got you a record.
Holy cow. Is this from the movie?
That's the vinyl that Andy plays in the movie. The Mozart album.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. You guys. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll have to get you a record player if you ever want to listen to it. But
and if your wife's like, turn it down, you can just.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's so funny. If my wife, turn that off.
No, warden.
I'll lock her out.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so funny.
Yeah, and then the story turns that she goes to jail because she murders you.
That's so funny.
This scene is like very nerve-wracking knowing the ending, knowing that his little rock hammer's in that Bible.
Right.
Isn't there something about where he has it in the Bible? The hammer, isn't it in like...
Well, he leaves a verse, salvation lieth within, or something like that, kind of referencing that was his salvation hidden in his Bible. There's a line here I don't even understand because I guess I'm so square, but he says, he may have already said it, something about contraband, but I don't know. I don't quite understand what he's referencing.
Just things you're not allowed to have.
Yeah.
And like even that, I think
that?
be considered contraband.
Some contraband here, but nothing to get in a twist over. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's just saying he's got a few things
you're not
that wouldn't.
technically supposed to have this in your room. You can't have these rocks and stuff like that.
Hey, you're not supposed to be digging out of here. Yeah, but like these scenes, he does look nervous, but like I would be like sweating. I couldn't handle, even though I'm in jail, I wouldn't be able to handle the stress of getting in more trouble. I'd be like, during the day, I'd be like, I hope no one's in my room right now.
I know.
Oh, the fact that the warden was holding the Bible the whole time, never opened it.
Horrible.
How do you guys think you would do a month in the hole?
Awful.
Just by myself, a month in the hole?
Yeah. Well, that'd be even more weird if you were in there with someone else. Squeeze another guy there with him.
That's the thing. A month is crazy. Like I was thinking about that. It's like I like to be on my own, but I like to be on my own and be able to entertain myself. If I had my cell phone, no problem. But in there just by myself, it would be terrible.
I think about that all the time when it shows people going in there. I'm like, it's not that bad. Then I'm like, oh yeah, they don't have their phone.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Give me my phone, I'll be fine.
Yeah, at least for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always think about it's a ridiculous movie reference, but in Rocket Man, Harlan Williams, they make him. He does that kind of, and he's just like has a puppet show he's doing. Oh, yeah. Like they open the door and he's just like, "Oh, leave us alone. We're having fun here."
Could you guys give me just a few more minutes? I just started the third act. Yes, close the door. It's bloody chilly in here.
Another thing, Brian, I saw you used to frequently write summaries on old movies on Twitter. You'd write little short summaries.
Yeah, I can barely remember that. Can you have an example of one?
I don't know if I do. I was going to see if you wanted
Can you summarize that for me?
Yeah. I feel like for a brief time I did it just as a joke. Like I would do like Hallmark movies or Good Will Hunting. I think I did one where it's
zero hunting in this movie.
Yeah, well that's true. I think Good Will Hunting. I said it's a movie about his buddies buy him a car, and then they're shocked when they show up at his house and he's not there.
Yeah.
Because the end of Good Will Hunting, if you remember,
they
buy him a car, I think for his birthday or whatever. Yeah. And then the next scene, they show up to pick him up and he's not here. Well, you got him a car, idiot.
Go figure.
He doesn't need you to come pick him up.
In Community, there's an episode where Donald Glover is talking to Abed, and he's just like, Donald Glover's meant for greater things. And so Abed looks at him and is like, every day, the best part of my day is the 5 minutes where you're not here and I think you might be gone. And he's just like, you jerk. Who says that to someone? That's the best part of your day is thinking I've left?
That's so funny.
Yeah. That make you happy?
Why aren't you at your desk?
Because I don't want to sit near you because you're a bad friend. He said the best part of his day is when he thinks I won't be there.
Something else you had tweeted, you said just snuck food into a theater to see a Christian film or to see The Chosen. You had a few of those.
Yeah.
Do you remember what food you snuck in?
I remember the movie. It was, so Angela Johnson is a comedian. I don't know if you guys, do you know Angela Johnson?
Yes.
She's a friend of mine, and I do a lot of shows with her, and she's a comedian, but also an actress. And she was in a Christian film called The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. And it's got some, pretty big actors in it. I mean, well, not pretty big. I shouldn't say big, but it's...
Anybody from Seinfeld in that one?
I'd have to think about it. All right, I shouldn't say pretty big actors, but it's got people you would recognize. Mm-hmm. It's got Bret Michaels, the wrestler, in it. And anyway, that's it.
Good enough. Wait, Bret Michaels, not Guns N' Roses guy?
Oh, wait, Shawn Michaels. I am so glad you corrected me on that.
Well, I was thinking about it. I just remembered Bret Michaels had that like VH1 show.
Yeah. You really saved me on that if I catch me on that. Shawn Michaels, excuse me, is in it. But anyway, she is in this movie. She's a friend of mine. So I went to see this movie that she's in. And I remember, I don't want to spend a lot of money on food there. So I remember I took some food with me in my coat. Then I'm like, I'm going to a Christian film and sneaking in food.
Oh, yeah.
What I took, I don't remember, but I do remember the movie. Oh, poor Brooks. That's me. Doesn't want to go out in the world.
Do you remember finding out how Santa Claus wasn't real?
What? Right now. Well, it's interesting you should ask that because we have a 2-year-old daughter. So now we're just starting that whole process. And we have some friends that tell their kids up front the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to do Santa Claus with our daughter. But there was not, for me, one specific conversation. Well, that's not exactly true. I do remember some kids at school saying it. And I even used to have a joke about it. And I went to my principal, Mr. Allen, and asked him if Santa was real. And he said, do you believe he's real? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, if you believe in your heart he's real, that's all that matters. And I say, that's when I knew Santa wasn't real. Because that was clearly a lie. But as far as like my parents and any discussion, there was not anything like that. It was just kind of like, I was almost embarrassed to like, hey, I know.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think I played along a little bit, as a kid, almost not to hurt my parents' feelings, if that makes sense.
That's hilarious. I don't want them to know that I don't know.
Yeah. It's just some things you just kind of learn, like, you just figure it out. Do people have great stories about?
So my favorite is a guy named Shawshank Godkendi. I don't know if you know Shawshank. He's an Atlanta comedian. He just moved to New York. But he had moved here, I forget where he was living.
He's Indian, but
yeah, he was living somewhere in India, moved here, and he's probably like third, fourth grade, and he was like at one of his friend's house, and they had like pictures of Santa, and he was like, "Who's that? Your grandpa?" And the guy was like, "No, it's Santa Claus." And he's like, "Who's Santa Claus?" He's like, "You don't know Santa Claus? This guy, he comes and gives us presents. It's like, every December, it's." And he's like, "Dude, that is awesome. Like, that's so cool." And he's like, "He's not real." And he's like, "So I found out about Santa Claus and then immediately had it ripped away from me."
That's a great joke. That is so funny.
Oh, I just looked up. You said, "That is so funny." That's his legs. Yeah, Brooks's legs.
This is my favorite scene.
Never fails to get me.
I love it. This is how I usually end the movie.
Yeah. And we're out.
Yeah, well, Brooks killed himself. We'll wrap it up.
The good part about me is I would never be able to do that because I don't know how to tie a rope well enough, and I don't know how to do carpentry, and I'm scared of heights, so I'd never even climb up on a chair. I would just fall and break a hip.
It would be an accidental death.
Yeah, it would be much more likely that.
Yeah, you just walking up the stairs. You just take a tumble.
So what we think this is, what do we think this is as far as year? Is this the 50s?
Probably. Because, Tommy hasn't even gotten there.
Right.
Yeah, I would early 1950s probably.
Yeah, late 40s, early 50s maybe.
Like that. Something interesting. And the vinyl, the pressing that we got you is a little different in this, but I saw that record didn't come out till 1968. I know I don't care about stuff like that. You're going to take some liberties, but it is like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's not the exact one, but it is the exact song.
Now I'm finding
piece of trash.
Get this crap out of here. I thought you guys were a legit podcast.
If they did a remake of this, what song do you think would be playing during this scene?
Or better yet, what song would you play?
Like if it was set in modern day prison now?
Yeah, but that may be a better question. What song would you play for everybody?
What song would I play?
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great.
That's full of hope.
Yeah.
It's funny to look at.
I seen it in a smoky room.
So, again, Aaron Weber, I keep going back to him. There's a Nashville comic who put out a song, him singing his own song, and it was pretty bad, pretty awful. And Aaron and I were making fun of it. Aaron took that song, he's so great at editing, and put it to this scene where they're listening to this comic perform it. It's the hardest I've laughed maybe in my adult life. It's so funny. I think it would be funny even if you didn't know the guy, but since we know him, and it was so funny. He turns it up.
Turn it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, say you're red.
Yeah.
And Andy tells you about San Juanejo.
Yeah.
And tells you about the field and the tree.
Yeah.
Are you ever finding that field and that tree?
No. There's a tree up near Buxton. You know where Buxton? There's a lot of hay fields up there. Whatever it is he says, I don't even think I'd go look. I'm like, I'm just glad I'm out.
I'm free now.
I would just be like, it was a great thought, Andy. But you got to know I'm never going to find that place.
Yeah. I guess I would go look because now I got some time on my hands. Now I'm out. I might as well take a trip one day. I'd never find it.
And if you found that money,
my car keys.
Found that money too, you'd probably just be like, oh, great, cab fare home.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we'll find somebody that knows the way.
I read where that tree got hit by lightning.
I saw that.
And they had to take it down. Do you know where that tree was?
Is it in Juanejo? No,
it's in a field.
Yeah, near Buxton.
No one knows. No one knows.
Brian, if you were on death row and had one last meal, what would your meal be?
Man, you guys ask a good question. Believe it or not, I've been on a TV show where I was an inmate in prison. I just thought about this.
No way.
I've been in so many shows that I forgot to tell you.
Were you acting or?
I was acting.
Yeah.
I was a Hannibal Lecter type character. I can't believe I'm just now thinking of this. It's the only thing I've ever been in, and I was an inmate in prison, and I bring it up an hour and a half into this podcast.
I can't. talked about so many jail things.
What would you do in this? What would you do in this situation? Like, oh yeah, I shot a show in a prison where I was an inmate.
So you were a Hannibal Lecter style character.
Yeah. So there's a guy named Greg Garcia. He created My Name Is Earl. He created Racing Hope. He's created a lot of really cool shows. He's a fan of our podcast. He's friends with Nate Bargatze, and he's a fan of our podcast. So a couple of years ago, he had this new show called Sprung, and it was about inmates that got released during the pandemic. It's a great idea because I think that's true. I think during the pandemic, some lesser offenders got released because just for health issues, for COVID. So it's a show about some inmates that got released during COVID, and they don't know what's going on in the world because everything's locked down. Greg Garcia invited Aaron Weber and myself to come play a small part in this show. So we flew up to Pittsburgh. Aaron was a jailer.
Oh, that's perfect.
A prison
guard.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I can't talk. Aaron was a prison guard. I was an inmate wearing a Hannibal Lecter mask.
Few of my victims were already drunk, but I still didn't like to take chances. Did you know you can make chloroform with various items you can find in most people's kitchens? I learned that on an episode of Law and Order.
And Aaron even made it in the promo for the show, like where they're promoting it. Like he has a line that, I was watching ESPN one night and there was a commercial for this show and there's Aaron in it.
I agree. It's a bit of a head scratcher.
So I was in episode 1 and episode 8. There was 8 episodes. I was in the first one and the last one. Very small part, like one line in each episode. But yeah, I was shot in a prison and I was an inmate. So wearing this whole time we've been sitting here, and I'm like, that looks vaguely familiar. Oh yeah, because I wore it at a TV show.
That's incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's called Sprung. Check it out. It was on Amazon Freevee, and now I think it's just on Prime. It's got Martha Plimpton, who's been in some stuff.
Bret Michaels.
Yeah, Bret Michaels. Everybody knows the wrestler Bret Michaels.
Well, you didn't answer though. Do you have a last meal you'd pick?
Last meal? I mean, I'm a pretty boring eater, so
just saltines.
I guess steak
Lunchable.
Steak and potato, probably.
Yeah, that'd be good.
They have to honor your request, right?
Yeah,
whatever
I
you
think
want.
so.
There's a scene in a show or a movie where someone requests something that's like McDonald's only does like the McRib like half the year.
Oh, that's smart.
They request that, so they have to delay their execution because I'm getting that wrong, but it's something like that.
Well, even a McFlurry, it'd be like, the machines are down. Like,
yeah,
you got 4 hours
because they always execute you at night. That's when the McDonald's ice cream machine is going to be.
Oh
down.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, McFlurry. That's a good call.
Not bad.
Speaking of going down,
poor Tommy.
There goes Tommy.
Who do you think told Andy the news?
It's him right here, the warden.
No, because he says by now I'm sure you've heard.
Oh, okay.
That,
I bet well, remember when he passed? Doesn't the guy come along and be like, the boy passed?
Yeah.
So I bet it was somebody like that telling him,
giving him his food or something.
Yeah.
Somebody relayed the message to it.
Hey, by the way, that chance you have getting out of here, that's God.
Yeah.
Enjoy your food.
Well, I'd like to think he's more upset about Tommy's death than.
I bet it's both though.
Yeah, it's gonna be both.
And it's just, I think it's the moment too. He just realizes, like, oh my God, like I'm never getting out of here. This guy is so evil.
Again, so many pivotal scenes in this movie. Like, this is such a powerful scene that when you watch it, you've kind of forgotten about the whole. Well, not even forgotten. You don't know what's going to happen to the escape scene, but
yeah,
I'm just drawn in. I'm not thinking at this point, oh, I bet he escapes.
No. At this point, I've lost hope. Because I'm like, well, he's screwed. There's no getting out of this. And this, even like what he says, that line was so chilling to me where he's like, I'll pull you out of that one bunk room, that one bunk Hilton.
Yeah.
And I'll throw you down with the real sodomite.
Yeah, catch you down with the sodomite.
And it's just like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
This, it just makes you kind of like remember that there's another half of this prison. Like we're seeing like Red and his boys, like those are the untouchables a little bit. Like those are the guys that are up here. You're not seeing all the other gangs and stuff like that are in this prison.
He just said, give him another month to think about it. Can you imagine?
Oh,
you think you're about to get out.
I thought, are you sure? I'm okay. Yeah, I would have immediately just been like, okay, I've changed my mind.
Yeah, they have this conversation, and Red's just like, yeah, Andy's different now.
He was always quiet, but even now.
Pivotal scene here. He's swapping it out.
That took guts to do, too. Just something could have went wrong there. He's a little cocky.
I mean, is he cocky or is he a man that has nothing left to lose at this point?
Well, I was just talking to comedian friend of mine, Alex Valuto. I don't know if you guys know Alex.
Yeah.
But we were talking about comedians who can tell jokes in a story form and then go back and tell it from a perspective of another person. It's almost what we're seeing here. He's talking about Bill Burr has a joke about a guy jumping out of a helicopter, and then he tells it from the perspective of the pilot. And Nate Bargatze has a lot of jokes like that where he'll tell a joke about something that happened to him, like hitting a home run off a walk. I don't know if you guys know that joke or not in Little League Baseball.
No.
But then he goes back and tells it from the perspective of every person on the field. And it's such a great joke. In a way, so it's like he tells the same joke twice. In a way, this is what this is like. Now we're rehashing in our mind all those scenes that we'd already seen and how like, oh yeah. Like the scene where he does the inmate check on him, and it just brings such depth.
So Reed, to explain who Alex is that he was talking about, Aaron did that video with Alex where he's like, you're not even on my podcast. I just wanted to invite you.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Aaron had just done our podcast at that point in time, and me and Reed like sent it to each other being like, do you think that was the vibe Aaron got from doing our podcast, is that we just wanted to hang out with him? Like, is this where he got that idea?
I appreciate you coming on the podcast today, man. It's been fun. Hope you'll come back.
Oh yeah, anytime.
I feel like I do need to be a little honest with you before we go. I don't have a podcast, and this is not a podcast that we've been doing. I think I just wanted to talk with you and just kind of hang out, and I didn't know how to initiate that outside of the context of a podcast. So I pretended that I had a podcast when in reality we've just been two men hanging out, getting to know each other.
Yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours.
And it's been a good 2 hours for me. I got to know you a little better, and I appreciate you coming by. You know what I mean?
What about that ad read?
Can I ask you a question? If I had invited you over for 2 hours to just talk, would you have come over?
No.
Actually, these microphones aren't even plugged into anything. These are fake. So, you got anything you want to plug?
I don't think I could ever bust a drain open.
I don't think you'd be able to.
Yeah, he does it on the third try.
Gross.
Yeah, then why is it pressurized? I don't know how it works, but like, is there ever a full? Like, is it ever full?
Somebody flushes.
Yeah, like, and all of a sudden it feels. Like,
they just do a cutaway of Red.
That would have been nice. He had some teamwork. Just boogie boards out of there.
Oh, they were working together?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Red so stressed about Andy, so he keeps going to the bathroom a lot.
I bet you smell.
Yeah, you don't wash that out. Like,
you couldn't walk
that's
500 yards.
Like, I think when he was at the bank the next day, they were like, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the scene so well because, again, when I worked at the video store, we would these trailers we'd play in the store, you know, for people who come in. You guys probably remember that, like at Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
Just over and over, and you work there all day. You keep hearing it, like it just gets ingrained in your brain. So this scene right here, where he's doing this, and then they would put in over "Get busy living" or "Get busy dying," and I just heard that so many times working at the video store. Any movie that came out in 93 or 94, like it's imprinted on my brain.
Like that shot
right there.
I think that would be something that Nate would be like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in Exodus. That's what it was.
Exodus, yeah.
That the hammer was.
I don't think I've ever realized that.
Yeah, I always thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah.
He had 19 years to cook that one up.
How do you think you'd feel, though, I mean, you're obviously happy your friend escaped, but your best friend's now out there.
I'd be jealous.
Yeah.
I should have been. Why didn't he invite me?
Why didn't he tell me? We could have both done it.
There would be some resentment there.
Sure.
Actually, giving you a postcard. Ha ha, loser.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that I knew exactly where to find you?
Now, Red takes the high road here. Look, he's happy for him. They had to put that scene in, but
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But no, I'd be like sitting there like, dang it, this sucks.
Yeah, I would totally just let me in on it. Do you think you could keep a secret like that for 19 years?
No. From all I could keep it for 19 minutes.
Yeah.
Once I got close to, I'd be like, oh my God, you have no idea what I've been working on.
Yeah. He kept that to himself that entire time. I bet some of those guys, though, had wives, and then if they had a chance to get out, and they're like, I'm just going to hang here with my buds.
Just hang with the boys.
Yeah.
This really, there isn't, well, I guess the jury, but there's like no females in this movie.
There's 2 speaking parts for women in the whole movie.
The woman who complains about the bagging.
Maybe this lady says something, but yeah, there's only 4 females in the whole movie.
There's not many.
Yeah, I can't think of another woman that says anything.
I just assumed that was why you picked this.
Maybe subconsciously
we don't have to hear
it
from
was.
any of those old broads.
Yeah. No wonder I love this movie so much. I'm going to be honest with you, though. This is another scene where if I was on the pro board, I'd be like, hey, this dude's got attitude now. Like,
I don't know if I understand it 100%.
I don't know if the guy
it felt like he was so sincere when in the beginning of the movie when he's like, I want to be out of here. I'm a changed man. This is like he's just given up.
It almost seems like they want to put him in a worse spot.
Yeah,
almost.
that's exactly how it comes across.
Oh, he's lost all hope. Time to put him back.
Yep.
To society.
Time to. He'll never be able to make this jump.
I don't completely get it. I mean, it's supposed to be they can tell he's faking, trying to say what they think he wants to hear at the beginning, and this is him being totally honest,
sincere,
but
no filter.
And he does admit here he has regrets. So I guess I get, they're like, all right, this guy's being honest. But still, he comes off kind of like...
I do love that, though, where he was just like, I would find that young man and try to talk some sense into him.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like, I love the idea of being able to talk to a younger version of yourself.
Yeah.
Brian, if you could talk to your younger self, what would you say?
I'm 52 years old, and... I've been keeping a journal since 1995.
That's incredible.
No way.
I write in it every day. And I go back and look what I was doing a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20, 25 years ago. Every day I go and look and see what I was doing. And it's so interesting because it just goes to show you the stuff you think so important in your life in time does not matter that much. Whether it's a girl, whether it's a job, whether it's some gig that some comic got that you didn't get, or whatever it is, it seems so important in the moment, but then in time it doesn't matter. So I'm constantly seeing things that I wish I could go back and tell myself, you shouldn't focus on this, you shouldn't worry about this. This is going to be okay, that's going to be okay. But it's still doing it. I mean, even now, I'm sure I'll look back in a few years from now, things going on in my life now. And I'm like, why did I do that podcast with those guys?
I was thinking that she was about to drop.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I have some, I don't want to get too serious with you guys. I have some regret that I didn't start stand-up comedy earlier because I started when I was 35. So I started very late for stand-up comedy, but I've kind of come to a realization lately that stand-up comedy is really, really hard. And if I'd have started in my 20s, I probably would have quit.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have toughed it out. So maybe that was a good thing. It was a blessing.
You might not have had anything to say at that point in time.
Still don't, but but certainly then.
At least it comes across wiser with age.
Yeah, exactly. So... there's a lot of things. I don't have any major regrets, but there's certainly stuff like that.
Well, I think that's about all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come record with us and hang out.
Is it okay for you guys if I finish the movie?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for these gifts. This is incredible. I should have brought a truck to haul it all. to recap, we got this very nice album. I gotta go buy a record player now. Bernie Mac book, and I gotta go learn to read. Rochelle the musical. That's a Seinfeld reference. A Strange Erotic Journey. I gotta go get a VCR. I do have a refrigerator. Nateland Bingo. Thank you guys so much. So fun to be here. Thank you.
Well, do you have anything you want to plug before you head out?
When does this come out?
Oof, it might be a while.
This is never coming out, is it?
We're just trying to hang out with you.
These cameras don't even have batteries.
No, I think it's the opposite. I think before we started, you're like, this is coming out next week. And now you guys are like, we're never putting this out. Well, I mean, I got some shows coming up, but...
Let's say 2.5 months. Is that
All right, let me think about that.
We put stuff in the can for a little while.
We got Mark Norman, Dustin Nickerson...
Better Comics coming up. So what you're trying to say?
We already got.
We have them in the can, or we have Mark in the can. We've got.
You're doing Dustin Nickerson tomorrow. You already told me. You're like, we got Dustin Nickerson.
Yeah, it'll be in the can.
We might get his out first.
All right, now we're getting more honest here. Appreciate that. We got bigger comics coming up that we're going to record.
We're trying to play to the algorithm, you know.
Yeah, I get it. So I don't know anything to plug. Go listen to the Nateland podcast. That's it's a weekly thing. We're now recording at the lab at Zany's.
Oh yeah,
oh, cool.
I didn't know that.
We're doing our podcast there. Well, we haven't done one yet, but I feel pretty safe that I can say that.
Yeah, since
this is never going to come out, apparently.
We need to. I wish we could age it like Andy. By the time it comes out, there's some grays and.
Yeah, Andy was in prison longer than this will come out.
Watching movies till